What up, y'all? The Atlanta Falcons currently have the number one defense in the NFL. Let's just think about that for a minute. I want to say nothing for just for a few seconds. I just want us to just, if you're a Falcons fan, you understand how much this is, like how big this is. So just, I'm gonna say it again, and then we're gonna just like sit just for like a few seconds and just live in the moment of what I just said. The Atlanta Falcons have the number one defense in the NFL right now. You know how insane that is? Do you know how insane that is? I haven't seen a defense this aggressive in years. And I don't even think I think our defense, Super Bowl year, even before Super Bowl year, like we had people like Desmond Trufant, who apparently a lot of people don't like him. I thought he was pretty good, but I mean, I heard a lot of people don't like him. But we had Desmond Trufant, we had Vic Beasley, we had Deion Jones, he's excellent. Grady Jarrett, in his prime. We had some really cool defenders on our team, and I forget the name of the safety. Oh God. Ricardo Allen, you know what I'm saying? We had a few really good studs on our defense, but it was never this aggressive. It was never like this, we blitzed Josh Allen most of that second half. Blitzing Josh Allen is ridiculous. Like in any other scenario, Josh Allen gets the ball off and he's just dotting you up the entire game. That's the league MVP who has a bullet for an arm and can run. And he's very hard to get down because he's tall. And somehow we're getting like 3 people running at him at all times. What's happening right now? Like this is crazy. And I'm going back and watching the game again. And I'm like noticing, you watch the game enough times, you notice more. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Offense, we always find a way to get stood on offense. It's been like that forever. You go from Michael Vick to Matt Ryan to Julio Jones to back to Michael Turner, then you go to Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez, you know what I'm saying? Even some Falcons, I don't know, because I've only been watching since 2009 or something, but that's what I mean. Like, we have had a whole bunch of, offensive legends, MVPs, Super Bowl, high performers. And we had our defenders, you know what I'm saying, too. But it's like, bro, this defense, and like, they're young, too, so they're only going to get better. And I have to give Terry some credit because I think a lot of Falcons fans, we made fun of him for multiple different reasons. But he really locked in. He locked in and he stood on what he believed was the best for this Falcons team. I don't know what else to say, I commend him for, just staying down and picking up the people he needed to pick up. When it was draft night, we didn't talk to any offensive players. We were only talking defense. And we've all heard the same cliche, defense wins championships. But it's like, this Falcons defense, you know what I'm saying? Imagine if we had this Falcons defense paired with like our 2016, 2017 offense. You know what I'm saying? It will be unstoppable. But the thing is, we have in many different ways, we have, with this offense, I think it's so much more of like, it seems more dynamic, you know what I'm saying? Because you have people like Bijan Robinson. I think when Michael gets better as a quarterback, as he progresses, because again, he's still very young. As he gets better, I think his reading is going to get a lot better because, that was the one thing that almost lost us this game. Michael Penix making really questionable reads. A few of them that should have been pick sixes, you know what I'm saying? That would have changed the entirety of the game. The Bills defense very well could have won the game for the Bills, even with a bad offensive Bills game. And it's not because the Bills were just figuring this out. It's because Penix was he wasn't making good reads. You feel me? So it's like, if he figures that out and his overthrowing problem, which if you see his old tape, he's had the overthrowing problem for a long time. But we talked about this when he first got drafted. I told y'all, I'd much rather have a quarterback that overthrows than underthrows. Underthrows, 9 times out of 10, it could be a pick. Overthrow, nobody gonna get it. I'll take that before I take a pick, to be honest with you. I'll take an incomplete pass before I take a pick any day, you know what I'm saying? But, If he figures those two things out, which I have no reason to assume that he won't, because he's only going to get better. You feel me? If he's already this good right now, he's only going to progress. He ain't going, you know what I'm saying? And he's young. So even if this fizzles out, I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl this year. I'm not saying nothing like that. But a game like this gives people a chance to like look at us in a different light. To be like, all right, the Falcons aren't that blown lead joke team, and it's going to be a lot. You can't shed what the Atlanta Falcons identity is at this current moment. The Falcons could have a 13-win year this year, you know what I'm saying? And, get bounced in the second round of the playoffs, something like that. And I think a lot of people will be surprised that we went that far, but I think our identity, even in the media, is still going to be like, oh, 28-3, you know what I'm saying? And people still say that now. I saw that comment under the Bills game, under the Bills win game. I'm like, okay, for us, as fans, at least for me, it doesn't like affect me anymore, because like that was mad years ago. I mean, if we're still talking about that in big 2025, you got it, I guess, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, if we can do more just to shed, and I'm not even talking about the Super Bowl anymore, I'm talking about the years after, where we insisted on blowing more leads, DeMarcus Mariota years and the Desmond Ridder years, you know what I'm saying? All these people, and we never had a defense like this that was like so down in what they're doing and shutting down premier level MVP quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? The Bills are the top of the league, and we punched them in the mouth, So now, and this is what I say every time the Falcons win, lose, or draw: execution is key. Execution, execution, execution. And of course, consistency, that also, because we cannot have a game like this and then go into San Francisco. And I think Brock Purdy will be back. Apparently he was hurt. I didn't even know he was hurt. I went and go and check the thing, but apparently he's hurt. Well, he had like turf toe or something. I assume he'll be back, but the 49ers, they're probably gonna come in with some anger. You know what I'm saying? They're probably gonna come in really, really aggressive, and we can beat them. You know what I'm saying? We can beat any team in this league, as we've seen, as we just proved. But we have to be able to stay consistent. We have to be able to keep proving why we are who we say we are. Again, I'm not saying we're gonna win a ring this year. I'm not saying we're not gonna lose. We're gonna lose a few more games this year. We are, absolutely. But if we can end this year with a positive win record in a playoff spot, we've been missing the playoffs for I don't know how long. If we can get into the playoffs, we can shock somebody. We can really get some people to start picking us to go to the Super Bowl. All we got to do is get in that small window of the playoffs, and then it's up for grabs at that point, because now it's all good teams in there. If the Falcons can just get past that wild card round, but at first you have to be good enough to get in that point, you know what I'm saying? So we're here in the middle of the year, we're almost at the middle of the year. We have to be able to stay consistent and stack up these wins when we need them right now. We cannot have any more Panthers games. We can't, Now, like I said, the only games right now I'm super fearful of are the divisional games. Because, there was that year, I think we were 1-7, and I think it was the Panthers were like 7-1. I think we came in there and we like whooped their ass. It was like 2019 or something. The divisional games are always, it's always something crazy. That's just the way it is in the league. So in hindsight, I'm thinking of Black Panther. The Panthers, it's a terrible loss, but I think we needed that. Something like that to happen just to like wake us up, and to get us like on the right track. And I'm gonna make a prediction, and I'm not happy about this prediction, but I'm gonna make one. Either the Falcons make it to the playoffs, or they're gonna miss the playoffs by a little bit because of a really bad play call. And I kind of alluded to this, in my last video. Either the Falcons really get the job done this time, and what I mean by the job done is just getting the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? I think the conversation kind of changes once we get there, because like now it's like, all right, we can't get in the playoffs for no reason, you know what I'm saying? We can't get in the playoffs and then get bounced out immediately. Like, what's the point, you know what I'm saying? But right now, let's take this step by step. The first step, of course, is just being a good team. You know what I'm saying? Winning more games than we're losing. You know, staying consistent and executing. But later on, fast forwards all the way to the end of the year, I think the way this year is going to go is we're either going to make the playoffs in a safe way, or we're going to be like one game where like we have to win and a bad play call is made, someone makes a bad read, something. It's going to be something that has to do with execution. Like we're going to run the ball when we should be passing, or pass the ball when we should be running. To be honest with you, I think it's definitely going to be a situation where we should run the ball, but we're passing it, and it's going to get picked off or something like that, and we're going to fuck up at the end. That's what I feel like is going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, but just in this small pattern of what I've been seeing, you know what I'm saying, this Falcons team is good, but the decision-making still looks like it's going to be a problem. And it's very early in the year, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I'm happy we got our bye week out the way, to be honest with you. I'm happy because I feel like we also needed that week to like censor ourselves and be like, all right, what do we need to do better to progress as a team? And we had enough time to sit there and just like sit in it, you know what I'm saying? But now I just feel like we are in this place where this team can go really, really far, but they got to execute. There's nothing else beyond execution. You feel me? If it's not that, if we can't get that, if we can't at least get that, this is going to be another year where we have potential, but we disappoint. And the way we're playing right now, it can't be a year like that. You're getting us all hyped up for like a good year. We can't just get dropped on our face like this. Not again. But yeah, man, y'all let me know how you guys feel about the Falcons right now. What do you think our ceiling is going to be for this year? Do you think the Falcons are going to keep it up, or do you think they're going to falcon their way out of another season once again? It's a toss-up right now, but right now we're the best defense in the league. So, I mean, if we can keep that up, we can stay at least a top 10 defense in the league, I think that will really be something good for the long run and a playoff run, you know? So we're going to see what happens. Y'all let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, let me know by liking the video. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below what kind of video you want me to do next. Stay safe, and I love you guys. Praise God. And I will see you next video, man. Go Dirty Birds.